Welcome back to History's Hidden Weird, the show where we don't just walk through the forgotten corners of the past, we crawl, flashlight in hand, looking for the strange and the soggy. I'm your host, Quinn Strange. And today's story? It's not just weird. It's raw. It's bloody. And it's still unsolved. In March of 1876, in a quiet patch of rural Kentucky, meat, yes, actual chunks of meat, fell from the sky. No storms. No tornadoes. Just a clear day, and meat. Where did it come from? What kind of meat was it? And why has no one ever really explained it? This is the story of the Kentucky meat shower, one of the strangest meteorological mysteries in American history. Let's set the scene. It's March 3, 1876. A Friday. The place? Olympia Springs, a small settlement in Bath County, Kentucky. Rural. Quiet. Livestock country. A woman named Mrs. Crouch is outside her farmhouse, making soap, as you do in the 19th century, when something strange starts falling from the sky. Not snow. Not rain. Meat. Wet, red, and unmistakably fleshy. Chunks of what looked like beef, each about 2 to 4 inches across, began raining down from a clear blue sky, covering a space roughly 100 yards long and 50 wide. Mrs. Crouch, naturally, was horrified. She ran inside, screaming, and called her husband. And the meat kept falling. Some of it landed on the ground. Some got stuck in fence posts. Some flopped into the grass like nature had just opened a butcher shop above their heads. When the sky finally stopped, meeting, the Crouches did what any rural Kentuckians might do in the 1870s. They collected some. And they told the neighbors. Word spread quickly. Locals came out to see for themselves. They examined the meat. They sniffed it. They poked it with sticks. And, in at least one documented case, they ate it. Let me repeat that. At least 2 men reportedly tasted the mystery meat. Their review? They said it tasted like either venison or mutton. So, deer or sheep. Of course, neither deer nor sheep were seen falling from the sky that day. Specimens of the meat were preserved in jars and sent off to scientists, doctors, and curious journalists. Soon, newspapers across the country picked up the story. The New York Times ran a piece. It was referred to in journals as the Kentucky Shower of Flesh. It became a national curiosity and a scientific head-scratcher. Because this wasn't the result of a storm. There was no rain, no wind, no tornado. The skies were reportedly clear during the entire incident. So what the heck happened? Now, here's where things get juicy. Let's talk theories. Theory 1, vultures. The most commonly accepted explanation, even today, is that a group of turkey vultures were flying overhead and suddenly, violently, began to vomit. Yes. Vomit. Turkey vultures, you see, have a defense mechanism. When startled or threatened, they can regurgitate partially digested meat to make themselves lighter and less appealing to predators. If a flock of vultures had been flying overhead, and something startled them, say, a sudden noise or animal, it's possible they all puked at once, midair. And that, rained meat. It's disgusting. But it checks a few boxes. It explains the random chunks. It explains why the meat wasn't fresh. And it explains why the fall was localized. The only downside? No one saw the vultures. No feathers. No droppings. No squawking. Just meat. So while plausible, it still feels a bit incomplete. Theory 2, animal tornado. Another theory floated at the time, pun very much intended, was that a mini tornado or strong gust of wind had scooped up animal parts from a butcher or slaughterhouse and dropped them over the Crouch farm. But remember, the skies were clear. There were no reports of storms that day in the region. And the meat wasn't bloodied or accompanied by other debris, no bones, no fur, no organs. Just clean chunks. So, unlikely. Theory 3, supernatural or religious sign. Some folks, especially local preachers, claimed it was a divine warning or omen. A punishment from God. A test of faith. Or a symbol of something deeper. Maybe to us that sounds ridiculous. But to rural communities in the 19th century, meat falling from a clear sky could absolutely feel like a message from above. Of course, even if it was a message, no one's sure what it meant. Theory 4, prank or hoax. Some skeptics have argued the whole thing might have been a prank. That someone, somehow, threw meat across the field. Maybe dumped it from a wagon. Maybe some bizarre act of vandalism. But the sheer volume of meat, and the fact that it fell from above, sticking to things, even trees, makes that hard to swallow. So what does that leave us with? Vomiting vultures. Or, the sky decided to get carnivorous that day. Scientists who studied the samples in the 1870s came to wildly different conclusions. Some said it was lung tissue, possibly from a horse or a sheep. Others claimed it was muscle tissue, maybe even human. A few thought it could be cartilage or connective tissue, too degraded to properly identify. But remember, this was 1876. They didn't have DNA testing. They barely had refrigeration. So the samples degraded quickly, and the mystery just lingered. Even today, with modern techniques, the meat shower has never been definitively explained. No modern lab has ever reopened the case with a full forensic analysis. There's no known preserved sample left in any museum. It is, to this day, an open mystery. The Kentucky meat shower is one of those stories that sticks with you, partly because it's gross, partly because it's funny, and partly because it's true. In a world of logic and order, meat should not fall from the sky. And yet, on a quiet March morning in 1876, it did. Was it a sky full of startled vultures? A freak meteorological event? A prank, a punishment, or a message from something higher? We may never know. But that's what we're here for. To remember the stories too weird to make it into textbooks. Too strange to be easily explained. And too meaty to ignore. Thanks for joining me for this episode of History's Hidden Weird. I'm your host, Quinn Strange. If you liked today's story, leave a review, share it with a friend, and remember, if the sky starts dropping steaks, maybe don't taste it. If you liked today's episode, leave a review, share with your weird history-loving friends, and hit follow. Have a strange story you want us to cover? Comment below and we will see what we can do. We'll be back next time with another strange tale from the shadows of history. Until then, stay curious. Stay weird. And maybe carry an umbrella, just in case.